What is up, boys and girls? In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about Golang folder structure, how to basically set up a project, and how, very important, how to stop being confused and start solving or tackling the root problem instead of creating problems from thin air, right? But before we continue, you know what is up. You don't need to subscribe, but you could give me a thumbs up or a comment in the comments, right? And of course, jump into the Discord community and check out the Patreon if you really want to level up. And there's a lot of good, like right now you can see there is no light, there is nothing almost in my house because I'm moving. But in April, we're going to start with good stuff, right? Good stuff for people that want to learn engineering, Golang, distributed systems, all that stuff, microservices, Docker. The whole shenanigans is coming up in April. So basically, you actually need to subscribe so you don't forget, right? So folder structure, very important. What I want to talk about today is that the reason why I'm making this video is not because I like it, because I think it's just, for me, a waste of time. But hey, I just want to help you guys. The problem is that in my streams, in Discord, on YouTube comments, people always ask, can you please, what do you think about clean architecture, DDD, hexagonal architecture and all that stuff? And to be honest, I actually have no clue what hexagonal folder structure is, or clean architecture, clean folder structure. I don't know what it is. I swear to God, I'm 36, programming for 15 fucking years, and I have no clue what it is. But hey, so of course I looked it up, and all of these terms, all of these confusement shenanigans, they have their pros and they have their cons, right? It's no bullshit at all. But the thing is, if you are a new developer or you have a little bit of experience, you come into Go or whatever other language it is, it doesn't really matter. You're most of the time confused because there is so many things out there, tech, Twitter, YouTube, all these content creators, they come up with all these fancy terms on how to structure and how to name things, and the only thing it does basically is it distracts you and it confuses you. And instead of solving your root problem, which is basically the purest form of programming, is just solving your root problem, right? You want to build an API for a customer, or you want to make a game, or whatever you want to build. It doesn't matter. That's the thing you should focus on, and not on, oh shit, I need to make folders here, and maybe I need to make a folder here, and where do I place my types and my users and my authentication and my database and my interfaces. And before you even know, you're in a deep rabbit hole of problems, and you think you are programming, but it's not, right? You are not programming, you are confused. You are not a programmer, you are a configurator, right? That's not what we want. Of course, when experience comes in, you will already know upfront which things will belong where. And I will give you an example. So let's take a look at this Golang project, which is basically completely nothing. So the first thing we're going to do is a Go mod init here, and we're going to call this, I always do github.com and DM. I'm going to call this Go folder because it is what it is. The next thing I do in my Go projects is I'm going to touch actually a make file, right? I'm going to make a make file here. It's not mandatory, but I'm always doing this because, I don't know, it's just convenient, right? Make file, and then we do a build here. You could say go build O. We're going to say bin. I'm going to call this app. It doesn't really matter, right? And then you could say in run, going to depend on build, and we're going to do /bin app. And then I always do a test, which is going to be go test -v verbose. You can skip that if you want, the whole shebang. And if you really want, you could do a count as 1. So it basically means that each time you're going to make test, it's going to not, it's just for caching. Otherwise, it's going to be cached, and it's annoying. Sometimes you want to test race conditions or something, or somewhat these little nasty rats in your program, and you can run it 10 times and it's going to work, but the 11th time it's going to fail. And of course, if you're always hitting the cache, you need to go into your test, modify something. It's everybody. A lot of people will know what I'm talking about. So count -1, and then you could do a minus race or something, whatever. Makefile is done, right? The next thing we're going to do, let's say we want to build a simple API. Of course, I'm not going to write it out because then we are here for 40 minutes and the attention span of the average YouTube is 10 minutes. So we only have 5 minutes. So we're going to make a new file here and we're going to call this main.go. Exactly, right? So we're going to say package main here. And then we're going to start off with our func main. And that's it, right? So you need to think about a programming. How does a program actually work? You're going to create a binary, and that binary is going to start from somewhere, and that's the main function, right? So that's basically what will be in the main. Everything that's going to bootstrap your program, right? Of course, a lot of people are using another folder, the folder CMD, and in CMD will be a main and all that stuff. But that's already, it's already too complex, right? I won the Nobel Prize of Simplification, and I need to... that's not for now. The CMD folder with the main. No need. Package main. Func main. Perfectly fine, right? So what we're going to do in main is actually we're going to boot up. I'm going to mock this out, right? It's going to be a little bit of pseudocode, so don't take this too seriously. We're going to say HTTP. We're going to do a listen and serve here. And that's going to be a port 3000, and this is going to be a handler nil here. And if you really want to make it fancy, you could say a listen adder here, or actually, yeah, listen adder is fine. A listen adder is going to be a flag, string, oh, insane lag here. We're going to call this a listen adder like this. Then I'm going to give a default value of 3000 because it's the mecca of ports. And by the way, what I always tell you is that how higher the port, the higher the skill level you have. So in my case, I could do something like 40,001, or actually, to be honest, 999, right? It's basically almost the maximum skill level. It's the level cap, right? And then this is going to be some explanation. We don't care. Then we're going to say a flag parse here. Just like that, boom. And then we can actually, instead of this 3000 hard-coded shenanigans, we can dereference this listen adders because Golang makes this. We're not going to discuss this, but we need to dereference this listen adder. Boom, that's fine. And then basically, we're going to have a problem. We're going to have no problem. You could do a make run here, and it's going to build, and it's going to run our server, and everything is fine, right? You see? No folder structure, no panic, no shenanigans. We just take the money and sip margaritas on the beach, right? Okay, cool. So that's fine. Of course, we need some handlers, right? So basically, you're going to make a simple API. You want to get a user. Well, then you're going to say HTTP handle func here, handle func, and then it's going to be /user or something, right? Most of the time, you're going to use a gin or a fiber or an echo or something. It doesn't matter, right? What's best? What's wrong? What's better? What's bestest? Nobody cares. Just pick one. Fiber. Fine. Echo. Also fine, you know? Don't worry about it. Just pick something. And if you really want to be a badass chat, you pick nothing and you code it yourself. Depends. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't really matter. Okay, so we say handle func user, and then we're going to say handle get user. That's going to be our handler. Of course, we don't have a handler. Now you're going to be panicking. No problem. We're going to make this handler in our main. It is what it is. So we're going to say, you could choose. You're going to do it above the main or below the main. It doesn't matter, right? You're going to say func handle get user, right? And that's going to be HTTP w, a HTTP response writer, and then a pointer to this, man, long time that I did this, HTTP request, and there's a lot of lag also. Boom. Just like that. And if you can type, it could be nice. Boom. Handle get user. You see? It's already taken care of. And maybe you're going to have a handle get account. No problem. Boom. Handle get account. Duplicate this. Change this. Handle account here. Boom. And then we're going to say here, handle get account. All fine. So now, an edge case. Types, for example, right? You're going to have a user type. What you could do is basically, you could say, okay, I'm going to create my type here. User. It's going to be a struct, right? Just like that. So you could use user in your things here, like this. User is going to be this user here. And then, of course, we're going to do this. So the compiler is happy, right? Perfectly fine. Then you could say, I'm going to duplicate this structure. Pseudocode, right, guys? You understand what I mean? Just to give you an idea. And this is going to be used in account, right? It's going to say var acc account And of course, we're going to muck it again for the compiler, right? Again, this is pseudo, just to give you an idea, right? So basically, and of course, you could have some database stuff, right? You could make a database, but you can already see that we're going to have our handlers, our types, and our database stuff is going to be in the main file. And for me personally, that's okay. It doesn't really matter, because by the end of the day, you're just going to search for stuff with your fuzzy finder or something, or with your search tool, or you're going to GD into stuff, or you're going to scroll with your mouse. It doesn't really matter, right? Folders, right? Folders, basically, guys. Think about this. What is a folder going to bring me as a benefit for solving my root problem, right? This is for my job, for example, I need to make a very simple service API that's going to get a user or something. I'm going to do some data manipulation. It doesn't really matter, and an account and all that stuff, and that's it. And I need to represent it as a nice JSON response, right? And do some rate limiting and yada, 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 and some logging and all that stuff. What is a folder going to help you make your program run better, make your code be more robust? Nothing. The only thing it's going to do is create extra problems, create possibilities to come into circular dependencies, create problems when you need to refactor. It's going to create so much extra shenanigans that does not need to be there, right? Of course, something that I'm actually always do, and that's my types, right? And that's what I want to share with you. It's these types. Because most of the time, when you are in a day job, right, you're going to make these services, right? In Golang, you're not going to make monoliths. That's not going to happen, right? If you think you're going to build a nice monolith in Golang with all controllers, models, then I think you're still in a dream, in a beautiful dream with unicorns and flowers that smell like potpourri. But that's not the case, right? So you're going to make a service, and your service will basically need to be accessible by other services in your company, right? And that could be services from Python, that could be services written in Go itself, it could be from the darkest, deepest hole in programming. It doesn't really matter. And most of the time, when people are writing in Go, they probably need to interact with your service, with your API. And it would be nice that also these people sitting on another island, they're just standing up right now. You see, they are in a meeting. We don't, because we don't do that. The only thing we do is stand up. Whatever. I'm not going to cut this because I have no time to cut videos. So basically, it would be nice that these guys that are standing up there have access to your user and your account. So if you put this into the main, you're already fucked, because it's impossible. Then they need to duplicate that stuff, and it's going to be a mess, because if you update your user, they need to update it, and it's going to be a whole big problem. So what you could do in this case is make a new folder and call it types, right? Call it types, we make a new file, and then you could say, I'm going to make a user.go and an account.go, and they all will have 20 lines of code. I wouldn't recommend to do that. It's not a bad case. You could do that if you really want, but I'm not doing this. Most of the time, I'm just placing everything in a types go. Boom. And then I'm going to say here, it's going to be package types. And then I'm say type user is going to be a struct, just like that. And then I'm going to copy this, and it's going to be an account here. Boom. Because a lot of people also think in the model controller things, which is it bad? Is it good? There is no such thing as bad as good. I already said that. But I don't like to put a lot of code inside of these types stuff. I think these types is basically just data, right? A more of a data-oriented design. This is a user structure, and the only thing it has is data and some JSON tags or something, or whatever. And that's it, right? And if we want to do some operations on our user, we're going to make a function that will take in a user and will do some manipulations there, and that's going to be in our handlers or in another thing. And I don't like it to put it into this types package, but that's also a personal preference, right? So cool. So the next thing we're going to do here in main, instead of these things here, what we need to do is we're going to say types here, types user here, and of course types account here, and it's already been taken care. Look at this, how beautiful, right? So we have our handlers here, we have our bootstrap here, and we can just do a make run, and our API is running. Of course, what you also could do is, instead of this main.go, if you really want to make this pure bootstrapping functionality, you could make a new file, and you can call this handlers.go, right? And then we're going to split the screen real quick, and then we're going to basically copy this handle func here, delete this, paste it here, and then we're going to say a package main, because we're still in the main, right? Doesn't really matter. Just like that, and it's all going to be fine. We're going to delete it here, and now we can delete, well, let's open up this thing, right? So what we have now is basically we have our main is just a nice bootstrapping thing. It's going to listen to arguments here. It's going to make our routes. There is no need to make a route thingy or something. Just put them in here. It's perfectly fine. And then at the end we do HTTP listen and serve, and you should basically log fatal that out or something. Or something else, right? That's for you to do. And then we have our handlers here, which is all these handlers are here. Of course, this is just right now, right? This is how you start. This is how you solve your problem. And let's say right now, we have solved our problem. And you don't make a package test. That's very important. Don't make a package test. Make your tests inside of this thing, right? Just make this new fun, and you say handlers test. Boom. And you say package main func test. Boom. Make test. Passing. Everybody happy, right? Very simple. Of course, this is a very simple service. We just have two routes exposed, the get user and get account. But you could imagine that you have a much larger project, right? A much larger Go project. And then, of course, it could be a little bit nasty to have all these things here, but that's no problem. What you could do, once your problem is solved, what you could do is you could say, okay, I'm going to make a new folder. I'm going to call this API, right? You're going to call this API, and then you could say handlers.go here, boom, right? And then we're going to refactor, right? So we're going to open up these handlers here. Actually, to be honest, let's make a new file, user handler or something. User handler.go, and then this guy, we're going to rename this account. Handler.go. This is going to be package API. Delete this, paste it in, boom. Handle get user, we're going to expose this guy. Handle get user, perfectly fine. HTTP, types of user, all good. Nobody is complaining. The same thing with, oh shit, this was the user handler. Made a mistake, no problem. You see how it goes? We have folders and their problems arise out of nothing. Package API. Boom, boom. Account handler, where is this thingy? Copy this, paste this in. Boom, save that. This handler here, we're gonna delete this boy. He's out. Handler test. He's out. Of course, here in API, very simple. New file, account, handler, test.go, boom. And the same for user. You get the point, what's going on here. Boom, save here. Handler test is gonna be a problem. Package API, func, test, boom, simple. Copy this here, bam. Make a new file. We're gonna do it good, right? We're gonna say user handler test go, paste that in, save it, call it a day, take the money, and sip margaritas on the beach, right? Of course, we have duplicated test, not anymore, right? Easy. And then in Go, of course, in main we have a problem here because we have handle users, no problem. You're gonna say API, and handle get user, and the same thing here, API, boom. Handle get account, save this thing, give VS Code some time, and you cannot figure it out what's going on. You see, no problem. You're gonna say get up NEM go folder, I think, API, save it and call it a day. Of course, we have a problem with handle get account for some reason, I don't know. Account handler here, handle get account. Of course, we need to expose this little boy here or girl. And then main, boom, look at this. Perfectly fine. We're going to collapse these folders here. We have API, binary. Don't forget to put this in your get ignore. We have our types here, and then our bootstrap here, right? Something's going on here, but it's fine. You see, this is already advanced for me, right? This is already... I would keep it in the main, especially for smaller projects. But if you really want to be foldery, and you really want to have the feeling you're a configurator or something that gives you dopamine, you can do it like that. And this is basically already a little bit built for scale. So because you have your API folder, you could add all these files, book handler, to-do handler, whatever you want, right? You get the point. And if you really want, you can make another folder, database or something, and put your queries in or whatever, right? That's the thing, right? So this is basically it. Like I said, it's very important. What do you need to take away from here is that you need to focus. You need to stop thinking about all these fancy terms, because by the end of the day, it's getting compiled, and the only thing it matters is that your root problem is being solved. Because all these terms, they have their pros and they have their cons, they have their use cases, for sure. But you need to make sure, especially as a beginner programmer, or also you have a little bit of experience, 2-3 years, doesn't really matter. Focus on your problem, start small, and scale up when needed. But make sure you solved your root problem first. All right, cool. If you like these videos, consider subscribing, give me a thumbs up, leave some questions in the comments, and jump into my Discord community, 24/7 open. Hey, free to join. Any race and any gender. We are a family, and you belong there. Yeah. Don't forget to check the Patreon also, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in one of my live streams. Like I said, it's a little bit busy right now in my life because I'm moving and all that stuff. It's crazy, but hey, I will manage it. I'm going to deal with it, and in 2 weeks or in 3 weeks, I'm going to drop some cool stuff. And in the meanwhile, I'm going to make these small videos just to keep my YouTube channel busy. Bye-bye.